Scorpio, what I'm about to reveal will hurt before it heals. It will rip the ground from under your feet before it teaches you to fly. There's a separation happening in your life right now, and you may even be feeling it, but you can't fully accept it yet. Something or someone you thought would be eternal is being ripped from your reality. And while you try to hold on with all your might, while you try to understand why, while you desperately search for ways to reverse what's happening, the universe is trying to tell you something you can't yet hear. This separation is not a loss. It's salvation. God saw something you didn't see. He saw poison disguised as love. He saw imprisonment disguised as security. He saw slow death disguised as stability. And now he's taking it all away from your life, not to punish you, but to save you from yourself. Because you, Scorpio, have this dangerous characteristic of clinging deeply, of diving in completely, of investing your entire soul in people and situations. And when you dive in, you dive so deep that you lose perspective. You lose the ability to see what's really happening in the depths where you've chosen to dwell. I'm going to reveal exactly what God saw that you couldn't see. I'm going to show you why this separation, however painful it is now, is the greatest blessing you could receive at this moment in your life. And I'm going to prepare you for what comes after the breakup, because what awaits you on the other side of this pain will completely redefine what you believe is possible for your life. But first, you need to stop fighting the inevitable. You need to let go of what's being ripped from your hand. You need to trust that sometimes, when God takes something from you, it's not to leave you empty, but to create space for something you didn't even know you could desire. Can you feel that you are being protected, even when it seems like you are being destroyed? The separation you're facing didn't come out of nowhere. It's been brewing for months, maybe years, but you didn't want to see the signs. Every time your intuition screamed that something was wrong, you silenced it. Every time your body reacted with tension and discomfort in certain situations, you ignored it. Every time your heart whispered that this wasn't for you, you turned up the volume of excuses and justifications. Why? Because admitting that something needs to end would mean facing the transformation you fear so much. Scorpio, you're not afraid of depth. You're not afraid of intensity. You're not afraid of darkness, but you are afraid of emptiness. You're afraid of that space between the end of something and the beginning of something else. You're afraid to let go of what you know, even when it's hurting you, because at least it's familiar. It's yours, and you prefer to suffer with the known than risk the unknown. But the time has come for you to understand something fundamental. Emptiness is not your enemy. Emptiness is the womb where miracles are born. God saw you slowly losing yourself in something that seemed to complete you, but in reality was fragmenting you. He saw you giving everything to someone or something that only took, but never gave back. He saw you building your life around something that had an expiration date, but that you insisted on treating as eternal. And he decided to intervene, not because you don't deserve love, connection, or stability, but because you deserve the true version of those things, not the cheap imitations you were accepting. For Scorpios born between October 23rd and November 2nd, this separation is related to a specific person who occupied a disproportionate space in your life. Someone you put on a pedestal, someone you defended when everyone around you questioned, someone you believed was essential to your happiness. God saw that this person was draining your light, even if in subtle ways. For those born between November 3rd and 12th, the separation is from a situation, a job, an environment that you thought defined who you were. God saw that you were too small for the space you occupied, suffocating in a place that couldn't accommodate your growth. And for those born between November 13th and 22nd, the separation is from a version of yourself that no longer serves you. God saw that you were trapped in an outdated identity, playing a role that was no longer true. What all Scorpios are experiencing now is the necessary pain of real transformation. Not that superficial transformation that you control and manage, but the one that completely destroys you before rebuilding you. And I know you're angry. Angry at God, angry at the universe, angry at life for taking away something you loved. But that anger is just the surface layer of a much deeper process happening inside you. Are you allowed to be angry at something that is actually saving you? Scorpio, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. What's being taken away from you was slowly killing you. Maybe not physically, but in every other way that matters. It was killing your creativity, your spontaneity, your ability to dream. It was turning you into a diminished version of who you truly are. It was making you forget that you were born for extraordinary things, not to live in mediocrity, disguised as contentment. You may not see it now, blinded by the pain of loss. But God saw. He saw you fading a little more each day. He saw your colors turning to ashes. He saw your fire turning into weak embers, and he could no longer watch you destroy yourself out of loyalty to something that didn't deserve that devotion, so he intervened. Not gently, because you wouldn't respond to subtle signals, but definitively tearing away what needed to be torn away so that you could finally breathe. The separation you're experiencing is an act of divine love, not cosmic cruelty. It is the universe saying, you are too valuable to continue settling for crumbs. You are too powerful to continue diminishing yourself. You are too brilliant to continue hiding your light. And even if you can't see it now, even if everything seems dark and meaningless, trust that this rupture is creating space for something so great, so true, so aligned with your true essence, that when it arrives, you will look back and be grateful for everything that was taken from you. Over the next few days, you will go through phases of denial, anger, bargaining, and sadness. This is normal. This is human. Allow yourself to feel each of these emotions without judgment. But while you feel, also begin to observe what is emerging in the empty spaces that this separation has created. Observe the moments when you breathe easier, the situations where you feel lighter, the possibilities that are beginning to appear now that the thing that occupied all the space has been removed. God doesn't take anything from you without having something infinitely better in store. But to receive the new, you need to completely let go of the old. And completely letting go doesn't just mean outwardly accepting that it's over. It means stopping mentally revisiting what was. Stopping creating scenarios of how things could have been different. Stopping punishing yourself for the end. Stopping secretly hoping it will come back. When you finally truly let go, you'll feel a lightness you haven't experienced in years. Are you willing to trust that the end of something can be the greatest gift, even when it seems like the greatest loss? The hardest part of your separation, Scorpio, isn't the loss itself. It's what it reveals about you. It exposes your tendency to cling to what's familiar, even when it's hurting you. It shows your difficulty in trusting that you can survive and thrive alone without that specific person or situation. It reveals how much of your sense of identity was built around something external to you, instead of being anchored in your inner essence. God saw this too. He saw that you had become dependent on something that should be complementary, not essential. He saw that you had transferred your personal power to something outside of yourself. He saw that you had ceased to be a complete being and had transformed into a half desperately seeking completeness elsewhere. And that is not how you were created to exist. You were born whole, born complete, born with everything you need within you. Connections, relationships, experiences, all of this should add to your life, not define it. But at some point, you confused addition with identity. You came to believe that you were what you had, what you did, who you loved. And when God began to take those things away, you panicked because you thought you were losing yourself. But the truth is exactly the opposite. You are finally finding yourself. In the rubble of this separation, you will discover who you truly are when everything superficial is burned away. You will discover what you are truly made of when all the crutches are removed. You will discover your true strength when you can no longer depend on anything external to sustain yourself. And this discovery, however painful the process may be, will transform you so profoundly that you will never be the same person again. The anger you're feeling is valid. The sadness consuming you is real. The confusion clouding your thoughts is understandable. But beneath all these intense emotions, there's a quiet wisdom trying to emerge. A small voice that knows this needed to happen, that always knew this wasn't for you, that tried to warn you in 1,000 different ways, but you didn't want to listen because you weren't ready for the truth. God waited as long as he could. He sent subtle signs that you ignored. He created situations that should have woken you up, but you chose to keep sleeping. He placed people in your path who tried to show you what you didn't want to see, but you pushed them away. Until he had no choice but to intervene definitively, because you were going too fast towards a precipice you couldn't see. This separation isn't the end of your story. It's the end of a chapter that needed to be closed so a new one could begin. A much better chapter, much truer, much more aligned with who you really are. But you couldn't enter this new chapter carrying the characters and plots of the old one. You needed empty hands to hold what's coming. You needed an empty heart to be filled in the right way. What God saw that you didn't see was the future version of you, already transformed, already healed, already living the extraordinary life that was always your birthright. He saw this radiant, free, powerful, joyful person, and he compared that to the current version of you, diminished, trapped, dependent, unhappy, and he couldn't let the present you prevent the future you from existing. So he created this necessary rupture to force the transformation that you wouldn't have the courage to begin on your own. In the coming times, as you navigate the desert of this separation, you will be tempted to look back. You will only remember the good times and forget the bad. You will romanticize what was and minimize the suffering it caused. Your mind will deceive you, telling you that you exaggerated, that it wasn't so bad, that you should have fought harder. Don't fall into that trap. God doesn't remove good things from your life. He only removes what is hindering your evolution. Every time you feel the urge to go back, remember, God saw something you didn't see. He saw the toxicity disguised as love. He saw the manipulation disguised as care. He saw the control disguised as protection. He saw the stagnation disguised as stability. And he protected you by removing it from your life, even knowing you wouldn't understand immediately, even knowing you would be angry, even knowing you would suffer in the short term in order to prosper in the long term. For Scorpios going through a breakup, know that the person who left your life wasn't capable of loving you the way you deserved. You may have seen potential in them, but God saw the reality. You may have believed their promises, but God saw their true intentions. You may have invested years trying to make it work, but God saw that it would never work the way you needed it to. For those in a professional situation or environment, understand that you were trapped in a place that would never recognize your true worth. You could have given another 1,000 years of your best effort and still not be appreciated, valued, or adequately rewarded. God saw you wasting your gifts in infertile soil and decided to transplant you to where you can truly flourish. And for those parting ways with an old version of themselves, realize that the identity you are losing was a mask you wore for too long. It was a protection you no longer need. It was a lie you told yourself to survive, but now it is preventing you from truly living. God saw the real person beneath that mask and decided it was time to reveal your true face to the world. The transformation that follows this separation will not be smooth or comfortable. Scorpio was never made for superficial transformations. You were made for complete deaths and rebirths, for total destruction followed by radical reconstructions, for definitive endings that make room for entirely new beginnings. And that is what is happening now. You will emerge from this separation as a fundamentally different person, not just a little changed or slightly adjusted, but completely transformed at a cellular level. Your values will be different. Your priorities will be different. Your boundaries will be different. What you accept and what you reject will be different. And this new version of you will no longer tolerate the things the old version accepted. It will no longer settle for the crumbs it once considered sufficient. It will no longer dim its light to fit into small spaces. God is preparing you for something so great that the current version of you couldn't bear the weight. He is strengthening you through this painful separation. He is teaching you that you can survive what you thought would destroy you. He is proving to you that you are far more powerful, far more resilient, far more capable than you ever imagined. And when you fully realize this, when you incorporate this truth into the core of your being, you will become unstoppable. What you are experiencing now will make perfect sense in a few months. You will look back and clearly see what God saw. You will realize the toxic patterns you were blind to. You will recognize the red flags you ignored. You will understand the lessons you needed to learn. And you will be deeply grateful for having been forced to let go of what was preventing you from flying. But until then, until that clarity arrives, you need to walk through the darkness with faith. You need to trust that there is a greater purpose in all of this, even when it seems random and cruel. You need to believe that you are being guided, even when you feel completely lost. You need to know that you are being protected, even when you feel vulnerable and exposed. Scorpio, I know you want answers now. You want to fully understand why this is happening. You want to see the big picture before taking the next step. But life doesn't work that way. Some lessons can only be understood in retrospect. Some gifts can only be recognized as gifts after you've opened them and lived with them for a while. And this separation is one of those gifts in disguise that will only reveal its true value with the passage of time. For now, your only task is to survive. Not every day. Sometimes it's every hour, every minute. Allow yourself to feel the pain without drowning in it. Allow yourself to cry without getting lost in sadness. Allow yourself to be angry without becoming bitter. And above all, allow yourself to trust that this will pass, that you will heal, that something better is waiting on the other side of this rupture. God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't randomly remove things from your life. Every separation serves a divine purpose that may not be clear now, but will reveal itself at the right time. Your only responsibility is to let go of what is being taken from you without fighting so hard that you hurt yourself in the process. It's about trusting that invisible hands are guiding you, even when you can't see or feel them. On the hardest days, when longing intensifies and loneliness screams, remember, God saw something you didn't see. And out of love for you, out of commitment to your greater good, out of faithfulness to your true purpose, He removed from your life what was preventing you from shining with your full intensity. You were saved, not abandoned. You were protected, not punished. You were freed, not rejected. And when you finally see what God saw, when the fog of pain dissipates and clarity arrives, you will fall to your knees in gratitude for this separation that now seems like a curse, but which is actually the greatest blessing you could receive at this moment in your life. Are you ready to trust in what you cannot yet see, but which your deepest heart already knows to be true? Share in the comments if you're going through an unexpected breakup. Your courage to speak up might be exactly what another Scorpio needs to find strength in their own pain. Subscribe to the channel now, because what comes after this separation will require guidance for you to navigate your new reality wisely. You will need support to rebuild your life on more solid and genuine foundations. Turn on notifications to receive messages that will help you through each phase of this profound transformation you are experiencing. Remember, this separation doesn't define your future. It prepares you for it. What you're losing now is insignificant compared to what you'll gain when you're ready to receive. God saw, God knows, God is watching over you, even when it seems otherwise. Trust in that when you can't trust anything else.